Right. So welcome everybody to the August session of our Rewiring Your Wellness speaker sessions. As always, we are glad to have you here. We have our guest today is Bianca. I'm just going to introduce her a little bit and a little bit about these sessions, and then we will get rolling with our topic of the month. And I also, just to let you guys know, my assistant, who you might have seen all the other times we have our session, she lives in Scotland, so this is too late for her. So I will be managing the waiting room and the chat, which it's a lot. So just
You got me good.
be
You
patient with
good.
me. Okay, so here we go. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're really happy to have you here, and we hope that we can keep providing you with these monthly talks on topics. As I always say, if there are topics in retraining, healing, recovery, I mean, pretty much anything you can think of that has to do with really just elevating our well-being. I'd love to know what topics you want to talk about, and feel free to email me. It's really easy. It's rewiringyourwellness@gmail.com. If you have any ideas or any needs, or there's people you want to talk to or things you want to talk about, we can do that. We can do that. Pretty much anything you can think of. Most things, I have people that know things. If you want to go to our website, it's rewiringyourwellness.com. I encourage everyone to check out the blog section of the website. I know it sounds funny because it's like, why would I read a blog? But we've actually had so many retrainers, coaches, write amazing blog series for, I think, about 3 years now. So we have a plethora of incredible information. Candy Whitfield, who's an amazing coach, she has written a weekly blog for, I think, three years. And if you need information, if you're looking for support, encouragement, it's all laid out by topic. So you can kind of look at the topics and look through. And I really encourage you to use that resource. It's free, of course. And so many people have just put so much of their love and their heart into these blogs, people just like you who are retrainers. Other than that, for the blogs, if you are interested in writing one, you don't have to be a good writer. We do host 4-month writer sessions where kind of help you to develop a topic and write a blog that you can share with other retrainers. So that's available too. And getting on with the session. If you all don't know Bianca, you should. When I was retraining, I remember laughter yoga was like a big part of DNRS, which I did. And I know there was Robert Rivest, who I love, who was on our retreat a couple years ago. And then there was Bianca Spears, who's here with us today. And she, I think, is like a YouTube celebrity to me, and always will be. And I'm so grateful that she's here. She is a world-renowned laughter leader, an award-winning empowerment coach, and the founder of NeuroPLAStic Way. That is NeuroPLAYstic Way, with play. You get it.
That's the one.
She also launched Elevate Brain Retraining 2.0 alongside Lindsay Mitchell of VitalSide, which you all should know as well. She's great. And it's a course that helps brain retrainers to personalize their healing and daily protocols, because no one size fits all. So let's welcome Bianca and get started today. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yes, I have a lot to share. Hello, everyone, live and on the replay. Today we're obviously diving into talking about play, about joy, about laughter. Things that can totally fall by the wayside when we're healing, when we're stuck in the chronic stress response, and when life's not really going the way that we hoped it might. So yes, many of you may know that I'm a laughter leader, that I have a very successful YouTube channel, I believe, thanks to brain retrainers, because y'all are getting in there and retraining and watching day after day after day. And it's clocking like 600 or 700 hours of watch time per month. at the moment, which is pretty crazy to me when I look at the stats. I'm just like, whoa. You might have heard that I've developed the NeuroPLAYstic Way. As Ashley mentioned, it's a means of facilitating that combines neuroplasticity, it combines nervous system regulation, somatics, laughter, and play, and it allows coaches, as I've experienced in my own practice over the last 6 years, to really get in and get deeper results through using the science that is behind all of these things. And you might know that I'm a coach, that I've helped other coaches, other entrepreneurs to not only build steady foundations and shift through their own blocks, but create thousands of dollars in just a matter of weeks at times. So yeah, this is all good. But what you might not know about me is that there's been times in my life where I was down and out. I was anxious. I was wondering whether things were just ever going to get better. There've been plenty of times in my life where my days had no play, but plenty of stress, plenty of worry, plenty of fear. Times where I felt anxious and tired of trying. Times where I was desperately clinging to hope and without realizing it had become severely serious. So I want to know, by show of virtual hands, by yes in the comments, have you ever doubted the hope that you were trying to hold on to? Give me a yes in the comments. This is definitely an interactive session. Yeah, I'm seeing virtual hands pop up here, there, and everywhere. Narissa, Shruti, Ashley's got a, oh, yes. Shanika, I didn't see you sneak in there. Welcome. Yeah, Linda. Yeah, have you ever had a time where you felt like giving up because it's just too hard? Yeah, yeah. And maybe you've had a time where you're in a point of your life, or maybe you're there right now, where you just forgot about laughter and fun and joy. And then when you remembered them, you're like, oh, those things. Well, I can tell you, if you can relate to any of those things, that I've been there too. I've been in times where I've just been like, oh, fun. Oh, laughter, flirting, spontaneity. I love these things, but they haven't been part of my life. And when we are retraining, it can be a real sticking point. So I hope that today, through what I share here, through the questions that Ashley asks me, through the questions that you all ask me at the end, you can find some ways to start shifting the dial forward, because having been through those things is why I'm committed to helping people find a more enjoyable, easy, fun way to move through healing, building a business. Like, none of these things are easy or fun unless we make them fun, right? So I'm really committed to helping people to shift that. And it's one of the big reasons that Lindsay and I got together and created Elevate, which I'm happy to talk about, but I'm not here to just plug away at all of my creations. But it really can change the game when you can be in a healing space and have fun. When you can look into your past habits, your beliefs, your identity, and the way that you hold yourself, what you believe about yourself, and inject fun and play and joy into the process of shifting that and transforming that. And even just putting on your play hat so that it becomes play for you, rather than just, this thing I gotta do those rounds, I gotta do those, whatever, 7 steps, whatever program you come from. I've got to do that hour a day of retraining. I've got to do my visualization. We get stuck in this have to mode. It can really make it a drag. So, Ashley, I know you've prepared some awesome questions. And when I looked at the questions that Ash had prepared, I was like, well, that's pretty much everything I want to talk about. So let's make it a dialogue rather than a monologue. So let's dive into those.
I'm just going to add a little bit to your story. Look at all these little hairs on these of the story. I would say some of you I know, some of you I don't know, some of you I know from WhatsApp groups, most of you I don't know, but I have been in the retraining world since 2017. And when I first started, laughter, I know there's a lot more stuff now, but back in the day, back in the prehistoric day of brain retraining, we didn't have WhatsApp groups, and there weren't really people getting together to support each other and encourage each other and do things together, or even do rounds together. Really, that wasn't really a thing. So the first thing that I came across was laughter yoga. And I remember it being really like awkwardly, awfully hard when I started. And I remember doing it and doing it and doing it and feeling really awkward and hard. And then as I kept retraining and kept laughing and kept injecting that kind of playfulness, how it just came easier and easier and easier. And a bit of my story is that I really recovered all of the symptomology, and now dealing with life things that are still hard things. And it's funny because I find myself sometimes in that place of still feeling, I don't know. I think life's just life. Sometimes you just feel lost or sad, or things don't work out the way you want them to, and you got to grieve that. I think that's what we're talking about next month, grieving through a training, a lot of grief. And I've noticed lately that I haven't been laughing or playing as much. And so as the stress goes up, it seems like the laughter and playfulness goes down. And I guess I wondered, what do you think about that, Bianca? And what is it like, for you or for people you've coached to do it the opposite? When the stress goes up, you add more laughter and play. What is that balance that we're aiming for, and what does that look like? Because I do know that when we don't have the brain chemistry for automatic laughter and joy, we really have to create it.
Absolutely. It's a great question. And I was like, yeah, that's me when I get stressed, when I'm under the pump. Like, I ain't laughing. I'm being a grouchy, who knows what, to my partner. I'm like, I'm not the happy, laughy person that people see online and think of me as because of my laughter videos.
You're not that 24/7? What? You're not laughing 24/7? I'm a
I
I'm
know. I find it so funny when people do that. They're like, oh, you're always so positive. And what's nice is that sometimes people throw that back to me. So earlier this year, we were moving house. We moved into a neighbor's house that was very under-maintained, let's say, and I did not realize how much cleaning and maintenance it would need to bring it up to scratch. And it was just so stressful, and I don't personally like moving anyway. The whole packing, unpacking, like I just don't like the process. I think most people, I don't know, maybe some people like it. I don't. So I was going through that, and I think I'd posted a video online of me laughing while I was driving the car, saying that because I had been stressed out by the moving, I needed to reset, and I was doing laughter or I don't know, humming or something. And someone wrote to me online and was like, hope you're laughing your way through the move. And I was like, I am absolutely not, but great idea. Sometimes we need those reminders. Even for me, I'm the one who taught her that. And she's like, you tell all of us too. And I was like, thanks, because I was not. So for me, it's noticing those moments, and same goes for clients. It's like we can be very aware when we're in personal development or when we're brain retraining. You are very aware of your nervous system. You are very aware of what's going on in your body, of what's triggering you, of pops, of thoughts, of behaviors, of all these things. And sometimes it's too much. We can't register everything consciously, right? But when you can notice that you're being grumpy, or that someone tried to crack a joke and you're like, not funny, like this is not a time to laugh, just noticing those things in yourself and really asking yourself, well, who do I want to be in this moment? Sometimes it's been such a long time since you were that playful, spontaneous version of yourself. I mentioned flirty because that's somewhere where, since like something I work on with my partner, because I'm like, since we had a kid, especially in the early days, it's like very transactional. It's very like, okay, he's in bed. We need to make dinner. Like it's very, very just doing the day and reporting in about what I did in my day, and my partner reporting in about his day. There wasn't a lot of genuine conversation. There wasn't a lot of playfulness that we used to have. There wasn't a lot of laughter. And sometimes it's a fair way down the track that we start to realize, oh, like what happened? What went on here? You know, I used to go up to him and kiss him. We both worked at home, and or I would jokingly like lick the side of his face or things like that. I wasn't doing that anymore. I was taking a nap when I had the time, or I was getting some washing done while the baby slept, or whatever it was. So the first step is always the acknowledgement. And the second thing is like, yeah, who do you want to be? Like, who is that version of you? And sometimes it's a giant leap. Sometimes I use the lick on the face because it's a really out there way of getting back to that playful version of me.
Mm.
So thinking about something that you can do, even sometimes just breaking the pattern with something crazy, like, okay, I'm done being serious now. I'm done being the stress head of the household or whatever it is for you. And you're just like, okay, I'm resetting. Do
Mm.
a skip through the house, do a cartwheel, do a somersault, like do something that's going to break your mind and your body out of the stress, out of the seriousness, out of the sadness, out of whatever that is for you.
Mm. Mm. I like the word serious. I think there's so many words we can use to be aware of what we're going through and name it. But for me, I'm like, oh, serious is so serious. Like even in retraining, you could get so serious about retraining and fixing things because it is serious, you know, for us. So I'm not making light of that. But there's like an attitude, and I've noticed since I don't have a kid, but I got a dog, and I've noticed it's the first time in my life I've noticed the kind of seriousness where it feels like I need to be kind of like in control and like kind of dominant over a being. And I really I don't enjoy as much that self of me.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, oh yeah, that's serious is the word I would use. And then I like the idea of a cartwheel to just like, you know, because usually it's like stop, 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 or the other things that we've learned. But I love these bigger movements. It's really cool.
Yeah, and that to me, the first time I heard stop, stop, stop of DNRS, I was like, whoa, like that's heavy. That's brutal. Like, stop, 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 stop. Like, it seems quite intense. And for me, like coming from a coaching background and having an LP or like
Hmm.
these kind of things, it's like you can break a pattern with anything. You can clap, you can nod, you can throw your hands in the air, you can jump in the air. Please be mindful of your body's abilities when you're trying cartwheels and all these kinds of things at home, everybody. Don't break yourself or your furniture. But you can break a pattern in many ways. And I think that seriousness is what Lindsay knew so well when she approached me to create Elevate. And I started jumping on calls with retrainers and going through coaching calls to kind of see, because I hadn't retrained at that point, and see what it's about. And it is very serious. It's like, gotta do it. Can be serious. And I want to challenge everyone who's retraining here who is taking it a bit too serious, like, oh, I have to say this and then I have to do that. The empowerment in brain retraining comes from the knowledge that you have. You already know why you're saying stop, 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 right? It's to stop the pattern. So if you can replace that with anything, like limbo, you're driving me mental, right? You can sing, oh, 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 I'm feeling so limbic. and then change it, right? You can insert anything in there because you already know what it's for. So you don't need the words stop, stop, stop necessarily.
Mm.
And this is where you can start to play. You go, okay, well, I know that's why I'm doing that. I know that the reason I'm visualizing like a memory from the past is to get my brain and body into that state of calm. Then you don't even really need a real memory. You can create one and you can start to play, right? So if you can look at the key ingredients of why you need to do these steps in this sequence and you understand that. I haven't done DNRS, I've done Vital Side, and in Vital Side, it's very clearly explained why we're doing each part. So if you understand why you're doing each part, then you can start to play with that and start to bring that in.
Mm.
The second thing is then, like, I'm huge on identity work. And Ashley, I want to challenge you with your dog because I know I get like this with my parenting too. Does it have to be serious?
No, I just don't know. I don't know what else to do. No. Ugh. But that's
It
not.
doesn't have to be serious. And the control over another being is a perceived control. It's not a real control, right? I mean, yes, you can pick up a child or a dog and physically move them, but we really can't control what they're doing or thinking most of the time. And so I find myself getting serious in parenting. And it's like, sometimes I'm inspired by my partner who comes in when I'm being serious and he brings in a playful element. And I'm like, yeah, go team. I'm glad you've got the playfulness because I do not have it today or in this moment. And, you know, sometimes there is a need for creating urgency or whatever. If your kid's running across the road and a car's coming, you're not going to be like, let's skip a little bit faster. Like, you're going to be like, hey, get off the road, right? Like, there's times for that seriousness, but I'm always challenging myself to be like, can I make it more playful?
Mm.
And no one likes to be told what to do, whether they're a human, probably. I don't know about dogs. I'm not super familiar with training dogs, but I feel like no one wants to be told what to do, you included. So if someone could play with you and get things done, or they could demand that you get something done, like, what would you prefer?
So how do
You'd
you,
prefer,
sorry, I just have a
yeah,
question.
go.
I need to ask the question. I love that idea. I love this. I love this train of thought. How would we route that towards brain retraining? If you can be the
Yeah,
serious, or you can do, like, how do we start to move in that direction? You know, 'cause it's easy to say do it, but it's like,
yeah,
you know, the patterns are there. So
the patterns are there. So, everything we're thinking is training our brain in a particular direction. So I don't really subscribe to brain retraining being one thing or another. However, we're always guiding our minds.
mm,
So whether it's parenting or having a dog in the house or whatever, to me, it's all training your brain in a particular way, and it's training you to behave in a particular way or to think in a particular way or to feel a particular way. However, if we want to bring it back to like more of a practice-based thing, yeah, I would encourage you to choose one element that you want to play with. So maybe it's the stop, stop, stop. Maybe you've heard this today and you're like, oh, I would love to stop saying that. I would love to say something or do something different to begin my process.
mm,
So choose one thing and then start to bring play in there. Sometimes we also need inspiration. Can you watch something that's going to bring in laughter or play? Dogs and kids are great because they're pretty much playing and being their best selves as long as we don't control them and tell them to be, which we try to, because it's dinner time and it's this and it's that, right? So sometimes you can find that inspiration elsewhere and give yourself permission. I find that people with pets and kids give themselves permission in that scenario to be playful, to put on a silly voice, to run around, to jump on the couches, to roll on the ground, whatever. And then they get up from that and they're back into serious mode because now they're back to being an adult, right? But can you take some of that with you? So again, it's just about choosing some of those things that could help you both in your practice and in your day-to-day, because there's no boxes. You get up from playing with the kid or the dog and you back in your serious box, but there's no box. You are you, and you've just chosen to slide yourself out of one scenario into another. So even now, if you've got a pen on paper or you've got, you can open up a document on your computer or notes on your phone or whatever, maybe just jot down somewhere where you feel like you're being more serious than you'd like to be.
You can also share it here in the chat if you want.
Yes, please do.
We love community. Is good to see that we're all in the same boat.
Absolutely.
My dog.
Your dog, yeah, you'd like to be less serious. The good thing if you share in the chat as well is that we can start to workshop it, which is like my favorite thing to do. And whenever I have calls with retrainers through Regulation Station and Elevate, we have calls with our clients. They get the best ideas actually from each other most of the time, to be honest. And that's what I like to facilitate, is that interaction. Like, we're on a group call, let's not forget, it's not just me and Ashley here. So the more you play and get involved, and again, maybe this is for you where you like to take a back seat and be a bit more in the corner, don't play, don't participate. Maybe that's something for you to work on, where you can get more actively involved in the word of play. Okay. Community bit because I don't want to feel judged. Eating, my weight, my body image. Elderly mom, partner, discipline. Disciplining my son. Okay, cool. So now, if you have no idea, please tell me in the comments. But if you have an idea, write down in the chat and for yourself to keep later, like what would you like to start with? Is it like Janine's mentioned, partner? Is it telling a joke? Is it looking into each other's eyes and laughing for 10 seconds? Is it tickling? Is it, for Naja, a little bit harder, like disciplining. That could be a difficult one. It's like, well, how can I bring play into discipline? Janine, I usually just fart.
You amazing. That's a talent. That's a skill.
That's a good game.
For all the people watching the recording, our friend here said, when she's being too serious with her partner, she just farts, which I think is a great plan. Not naming any names here, but that's a great plan. And she can do it on command. I hope.
Just to clarify, because I have been naming names, should I not be saying people's names for the recording, Ashley?
Maybe not. Let's keep it.
Okay.
Oh, she said we could say her name. Thank you. We love you.
Making funny faces. Okay, I'm gonna see some of the matches. Oh, with eating? Making funny faces. I love it. Lisa is funny fun. Is that a response? Sorry, I'm saying names again. Is that your plan, or is that just a response to what's going on in the chat? Skipping with my daughter. Love it. So I haven't. I should fart with my son for discipline. I love it. So the discipline one can be interesting.
On your son.
And
for this. You should fart next to your son for discipline. That's, yes.
Yeah, we're learning from each other here. Janine's brought in a great idea. Okay. Um, funny, fun for food. Okay. Good. I don't understand that, but as long as you understand your plan of what you're going to do, that's the important thing. Oh, sorry, yours wasn't food, weight, or body image. So some of these things can be a little bit hard to joke around with, right? They're things we feel seriously about for a reason because we have certain ideas and beliefs around those things, right? My weight or food or discipline, like I should be such and such, or with my elderly mum, it's like I don't know what that's about. Are you losing patience? Are you frustrated? Are you sad? Like
Mm,
what is going on there? Some of these things are like real talk. It's like, do I want to joke about this? Do I want to play? Um, I'll say the elderly mum again. I don't know the context, but sometimes we can find ourselves being serious or frustrated and we forget that like we don't have all the time in the world. We only have a certain amount of time with people in our lives, right? So can we infuse that with what we'd like to be talking about? And again, brain retraining is great for that. Like rather than talking about things we don't want to talk about or the things that we might want to complain or vent about. Venting can be important, but do we want to bring in gratitude or joy or ask someone a quirky question so we get to learn more about them? Like, what do we actually want to bring in there? And this is what I was talking about before when you're putting on your play hat. It doesn't necessarily mean skipping down the road and doing cartwheels and laughing and joking all of the time. It's about like, if this is my life and I get to choose how I shape it, how I spend my time to a certain extent, how I interact with people, like make that the clay or the Play-Doh or whatever you want it to be. And like, what are you putting together? And that attitude of playing with all the elements empowers you in a way that helps you to be really mindful about what you're doing and make choices very easy where you can draw a line and cut something out of your life or stop doing something or distance yourself from a certain person if they're not willing to engage in the ways that you are excited about engaging. It makes it a lot easier to go, okay, I'm the one who moves the puzzle pieces here. How does that roll? With regards to the disciplining outside of the fart idea, I don't know if anything's been come up with, but what can happen sometimes is Ricky Fokey, I love that. I'll go back to that one for the replay in a second. Discipline, sometimes we can think of discipline as having to be hard because that's how we were disciplined as children, or that's how we've seen discipline in our lives. That's what we see in whatever, in the army, in the workplace, in society, that there's this hard discipline, punishment kind of system. And sometimes it can also be about looking at what we want to discipline and how we want to discipline. And I know we've like tangented into parenting a few times on this call, but again, it's all brain retraining. Like life is brain retraining. We're always choosing how we want to be, what we're thinking, feeling. We always have a choice over that. And to start to create a new pathway.
mm,
One thing I'll say about discipline before we get back onto play and joy and bringing it into our retraining practices is sometimes, I don't know if this will be helpful for the person who said that or for anyone else on the line, but it was really helpful for me, is having rules that are either like that are life affirming. So do they enhance life? Do they make life better, or are they just rules for the sake of rules? When I got onto that, I realized within myself why I wasn't harder on my son for certain things, that I'm like, oh, I should probably not be doing that, or I should tell him not to do that. But I was like, I don't really care. Like, I don't really care that much if he jumps on his own bed. I don't really care. Sure, there's a danger of him falling off, but he falls over when he runs down a concrete path and skins his knees too. I'm like, you know. And I realized that the reason I don't really care is because they're not detrimental to life. And I could then give myself permission to be like, okay, what is important? Like going to bed on time, getting enough sleep for the next day. Or what is important? Not swearing. What is important? So sometimes we can relieve a lot of the need to discipline if we decide what's important and not important to have as a boundary or a rule or something that needs disciplining or not. So I don't know if that's helpful, but I will I'll repeat. Someone suggested doing the hokey pokey when irritated at their partner. Yes, I love that. For body image or weight, I can draw myself not as how I look externally, but how I look internally.
Good start.
I love that. I love that. Using art is fun. Found that play with discipline has been a game changer for me. Great. Yeah, if you've got any suggestions, drop them in. I know you are a playful being. I will not name your name, but I know you are. How do you bring play? Oh, sorry, Ashley. Should I go back to your question? I've got a question in the chat.
We'll do this one and we'll do some more questions. But how do you bring play or humor into interactions with friends who visit, are dealing with their own challenges and problems?
And they're very serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you? I think sharing genuinely your perspective, your wishes, remember, you're playing the puzzle, you're moving the pieces in your life, and setting a boundary there of like, hey, I would love to, this is what I'm doing at the moment, and I'm looking to find more fun or play. You can directly address it like that, or you can start to just invite new things into the conversation. Like, do you know what? You have never told me. I don't think we've ever talked about it. But you've never told me like the funniest time in your life where you could not stop laughing. Can you tell me about that? Right? And you can invite it into the conversation. Or you can tell them something fun that you did and then ask them, like, when's the last time you skipped? Have you skipped lately? When's the last time you had a pillow fight? An egg and spoon race. You can invite these things in to your time together. And if they're willing to play, they're willing to play. And if they're not, you could also share with them some things. I know I haven't really gone into the whole science behind play and all that kind of thing. You can do it very easily. Ask Google or ChatGPT or whoever you want for some statistics and studies on play, because there's a lot of intelligence to play, and we are designed to play by nature so that we can evolve, so that we can learn and grow, so that we innovate, right? As humans, we wouldn't have any of the inventions. We wouldn't have Zoom. We wouldn't have computers. We wouldn't have any of that if people were too scared to explore and play and get things wrong. And that's something really beautiful about play too, is that you can't get it wrong. It's play. Sure, if you're playing a specific game, you're playing football or you're playing softball or whatever you're playing and it's got rules, there's better or worse ways to swing the bat or kick the ball. And there's winners and losers and all of that kind of thing. But if you're just playing to play, there's no wrong or right, and there's no winners or losers.
I really like.
So I hope that
I really like. You said interject questions, like fun questions. That's such a. I've been texting. Sometimes I'll text my friends instead of saying hi, how are you? I'll say, what's the best thing that you smelled in the last day, or just silly questions.
Yeah.
Those are the things I want to know more about them, and I do of course care how they are doing right now, but depending on where I'm at in my own self, I can hold more of that or less. So I really like to ask questions. So I appreciated, like, you know, you never told me when you did this. And I can imagine that person who, you know, might be struggling, would their brain would fire in a different way for a second, because it would take that question in and say, oh, when did I have a pillow fight the last time? And it would go back, you know, hopefully to a
Mhm.
positive, helpful memory. And, you know, you've just inspired and really supported that person in a way that we often don't think of as supportive, because we're not trying to run away from anything or, you know, gaslight anyone. We can both be empathetic in there, but we can also, like, Bianca said, decide who we are and what we're molding and what we're shaping. And I really liked the kind of grace of that, just asking these, you know, questions, getting to know each other questions, and sparking someone's joy. You could even do that if you're having problems with your partner or spouse. Can't do it with my dog because she doesn't speak English. But yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a
And
great,
it's something that,
yeah.
again, my partner and I are working on, like having those more interesting conversations rather than just like reporting in. Like I said, I found this in our communication over the last few years. We just say how our day was, the other person says how their day was, and we listen, and then we
Yeah.
talk about whatever we need to talk about. And if you ask someone, hey, you know what? Like, this was my first car, and this is why I loved it, and this is how I got it, and this is how much I paid for it. Like, what was your first car? Or a question like that. It doesn't have to be about a pillow fight or laughter or anything, but it brings you closer together because you're learning something about that person. And again, it's more about this play than this play.
Like that. I'm going to ask you a couple questions that I want to get in today. Could you give some examples of micro moments of play that people could incorporate into their day?
I can. And I thought of something as you were speaking before, and I just want to say before we move on from this topic, be prepared that if you invite that person's brain to go that way, but they're quite resistant to that and they are very serious, they may not want to go there. They may just say, I don't know the last time I had a pillow fight. They may kind of shut it down. So you may need to support and encourage that, maybe by telling your own story or asking the question in a different way. Because I guess what's important to talk about on this call is, like, if our brains and bodies haven't been there for a while, it seems hard to access. It seems very foreign. So be prepared if you're inviting someone else into that space, or when you're going out and trying to implement this in your own life, that there may be resistance. There may be like, I don't even know. I don't know what I'm grateful for. I don't know the last time I laughed. I feel awkward, right? Ashley talked about it, and it's not uncommon that people start laughter yoga and they're like, this is so awkward. This is so weird. And I don't know why, but what I would consider is the weirdest, most awkward laughter yoga video that I've ever created is the most popular one. I don't know why. I felt awkward doing it. I was basically being a little Robert Rivest ripoff, and people love it for whatever reason. So, onto some micro moments to bring in laughter or play or joy. Um, oh, it's really, really anything. Again, if you need some inspiration, maybe you want to look up a comedian if we want to talk about laughter, or you follow some people who just make funny videos if you are on social media. Maybe that's a bit of a thing for you. You can also listen, like on Spotify. I don't think I've ever done it, but there's podcasts and like comedy you can listen to if you're not on social media. Of course, there's YouTube as well. So those little micro moments. You can also, I did this yesterday. If you notice you're starting to feel like burnt out or stressed or worried, you can just bring in some. Yesterday for me, it was dance. I literally just typed in the computer. I was doing some very heady work, and I was trying to get through this new process that I'd learned. And I was like, you need a break, you need a break, you need a break. Limby screaming, you need a break. So I was like, good songs to dance to. And Rihanna, We Found Love in a Hopeless Place came up. I was like, cool, hit play, danced around my office for however long that song is, 4 minutes or whatever. And I was like, okay. Creating a new habit, it's always helpful to habit stack. And what habit stacking is, if you haven't heard of it, is bringing that new habit you want to implement into something that's already well ingrained in your routine or your day. So you wake up every day, right? You probably brush your teeth once or twice a day. You eat meals, things that are already there that are probably not going to be skipped or missed. If you attach it to your morning walk, but you don't go for your morning walk, then both habits fall off, right? You want to attach it to really solid parts of your routine. So if you can decide that before you eat every meal, I don't know, you're going to laugh for 30 seconds or a minute or 10 seconds at first, and then every day challenge yourself to laugh for an extra 10 seconds. It really helps with digestion, by the way, to get the dose chemistry flowing. Where every time you wash your hands after the bathroom, or you find yourself at the bathroom mirror, you're brushing your teeth or whatever you're doing, that you're going to pull a new weird face at yourself that you haven't pulled yet that day. And you'll walk out laughing, and then you'll feel even more stupid for walking out of the bathroom laughing and wondering if anyone's watching you, or if anyone could see you, what they would think you were laughing at walking out of the bathroom laughing. So inserting these little things, and if you're like totally stuck for ideas, think about what you loved when you were a kid, or what your kids love, or what a kid you know of loved, or a kid in a movie loves. Is it, I don't know, the other day my son and I were screwing up balls of paper for the fireplace, and we ended up pretending we were having a snowball fight, and we were throwing, he's never seen snow. We were throwing those at each other before we put them in the fire, right? Is it a pillow fight? Is it blowing bubbles? I heard one of the coolest things I heard one time when someone was speaking about like bringing play and fun in. She keeps bubbles in her car for when she's stuck in traffic, and she blows bubbles. I was like, that is so good. Um, is it even bringing in some other things like celebration? I know whenever I get a new client or my partner gets a new client, we just do a double high five, like high 10, and then we tell each other about, what that is or what that involves with the new client. And sometimes that celebration can really bring in a playfulness as well. Turning on music like I did yesterday. Like I could have stood up and just danced, but I wouldn't have felt as invigorated or inspired as I did when I turned on that Rihanna song and I was like, yeah, cool, I've got this. So yeah, can you get up in the morning and even start with a smile? One that I've started doing in the last 2 weeks, because I found I'm working towards some goals with work. I'm getting very serious about it all. And I'm waking up like, okay, stuff to do. I'm excited about it, but I'm also maybe a little bit on overdrive with it. So before I get out of bed, I do this. And it's funny, when the first day I did it, my partner wasn't there. And I'm like this, laying in bed. Yes, the sun is shining today. Yes, I get to do what I love today. Yes, my son is still sleeping and I've got time to myself. Yes, and I'll count up to 20 before I get out of bed. But when my partner's there, I'll count on my hands 20 before I get out of bed. And it's really changed the way that I do it. And again, I'm obviously waking up every day, so I've tied that habit without kind of planning it to my waking up. So give me a thumbs up or a yes in the comments if you've got some ideas flowing now and you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. I've got some ammo. I've got some ideas of things that I can implement.
I'd love to, if people want to put in the chat too, any other ideas they have or little things. I'm sure we would all love some inspiration. So if you have things, even if they seem really silly, I'd love if you'd share them. I really loved, my favorite one was the bubbles. I think I'm gonna go buy
I
some.
saw you writing.
Fucking love bubbles. Like what? Yes, those are like the little things. They're like they seem really there's a very micro in a way because it's not like you're like going but you're like do you know what I'm saying? It's a little different than that and I really enjoy those.
Yeah.
But I'm not very good at thinking about finding them. So I was like bubbles, you know,
Yeah.
other silly things like that. Like I really wanted to get some they have really cool slime nowadays. Like all
I was just,
like I on YouTube I follow the slime people and I'm like, oh, I really want to get some slime.
yeah.
Things like yeah, little things. I wonder what else people think of micro things that either bring joy, I would say, play, joy. Um, I'm a very energetic being, so I think of seriousness as kind of a somatic state of heaviness. And I feel
Mm,
when I think of joy or play, I feel kind of a somatic state of lightness. So that's
mm,
kind of how I differentiate because words don't mean a lot like doesn't mean a lot to me for words. So I'm always like, does this feel lighter? May not feel the lightest, but what makes you feel lighter? Um, so what are these? What is everyone saying? We got
yes.
playing hide and seek with cats and or son. That is cute. I play hide and seek with my dog. It's super fun. Race with my daughter. I like that's cute. Joke book. Oh, I love jokes. Jokes are so good if you like jokes. But if you go look up like dad jokes or just like simple jokes and I keep mine in the notes in my phone and then I'll just like share them with people, like even people at the grocery store because I really like jokes. Um and let's see what else we have. Mad Libs. Mad Libs are super fun. That's a good pick me up. Mad Libs
What
also.
is what is Mad Libs?
Mad Libs is when you have like I think they're often a story and there'll be these blank spaces and it says like adjective or verb or noun and you can put whatever thing you want in that space. So when you read the story, it's pretty funny. That's the best way.
Ah, okay.
Play with our dog. Dogs are fun. DNRS group game night. Janine, can I join your game night, please? Send me send me an email. I would like to be a part of that.
Open.
I'm serious. I love games. Wind up toys in my office. Now I want wind up toys. I love that. Does anyone remember
Yes.
that cat that you could wind up and it would like do the backflip? Do you remember that? The little animals. You would wind them up and they go, "Arr, arr, arr," and then it'd go, "Whoop," and it would try to backflip. I hope I'm not the only one. I feel like someone else remembered. Lipstick on the mirror. Draw a heart. I love that, Lisa. Text one joke a day to a friend. I think that's super fun. And you get to.
Yeah.
There is a fart app. What?
I was laughing at that. I was trying not to laugh before when you were talking.
Lisa knows game night too. Why am I not invited to game night? Wind up toys, slinkies. Oh, I forgot about slinkies. Yes, I remember. Oh, game night for what? Okay, I will.
Yeah, slinkies are good. I was thinking before of yo-yos too when you were talking about the bubbles. I was like, anything that you felt like, or the slime, like those things that are fun to play with. And art as well, like that expression can be so good to just like get paints and do that. I mean, it's not necessarily a micro everyday thing, or it
Right.
could be. You could just get out the paints before breakfast if you wanted to. There's
Now
no
we know
rules
that
there,
the
right?
fart app is called Fart World. For anyone curious about the fart app, it's called Fart World. I will be downloading it tonight. Thank you,
A
everybody.
stare off with no laughter allowed, which never works because we laugh. I love it. So I want to just touch base for very quickly because I realize we're at time.
Oh, yeah.
With laughter, there are some things you can do to start bringing laughter back in, or if you do laughter yoga or whatever and it feels really weird, start with what you know. So come in a regulated way, do some long exhales, do some humming, Blowing out your lips, and then you can just add to that, or the humming. You can do different noises with laughter as well. You could do ha 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 ha, whatever feels good for you. And you can try and do it slow to fast. That often cracks people up. So if you go, oh, oh,
No, I like that one.
oh, oh, get a bit faster. Oh, 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 and then you can crank it out.
That's a good one.
Like maybe it doesn't get you laughing, but it gets you playing. And then when you start playing, you can start enjoying. And again, just reconnecting those pathways. It's like walking down a dusty road, right? You might not have been there for a while. Give yourself the time and space to start doing that. And yeah, funny noises or like snorts. I don't know what it is. People love to laugh at snorts. Yeah, it bit by bit. And if there's any, sometimes there's really deep beliefs and things that we didn't get to today that I can't cover for you in a group session anyway, but there can be deep beliefs or incidences from earlier in our life where we were told, like we kind of ingrained this belief that it's bad to play, it's unsafe to play, it's not good to play. And that's normally where the resistance comes from, either subconsciously believing that it's not appropriate or that it's not safe, right? Our nervous system doesn't feel safe. So give yourself time and space to work with that, to show yourself that you're safe, to retrain in and around that, right? Using breathing techniques, using any of the tools in your toolkit to really make sure you feel safe when you're laughing, because it can also, I could say, hey, turn on YouTube and you can watch a laughter yoga session, or you can jump on like a WhatsApp group where they're running one or whatever. But if there's other people in your house who you feel are judging you for laughing, you're not going to let go, right? You're not going to give it your all because you're constantly going to be thinking about that. And it might make it a more stressful event than an enjoyable one. So make sure you really take care of that safety in the same way you would for a child who's trying something for the first time and you want them to succeed at it, right? You just want them to have a little bit and like it and come back for more. But make sure those parameters feel safe to your nervous system. Otherwise, it's going to be a really hard road ahead to try and get back to that joy and play. But I mean, at least for everyone who's live, we get a lot of ideas flowing here. I've seen a lot of ideas, so I hope you're taking away a lot in your goodie bags from this call. I have extra time if anyone has any specific questions they want to ask. I don't know about you, Ash. I know you've had quite a long day.
Yeah, no, usually we tend to go like 10 minutes over. I would just say on top of that, if anyone has to leave, we will be sending you the recording, but we'll probably just go about 10 minutes past. I would say too, if there are a lot of, different points in our life and retraining wherever we're at, there's different challenge levels to this because we don't have playful ventral vagal chemistry. And really play is that mix of that sympathetic with the ventral safety. And I feel like a lot of us in the community you spend less time in ventral. And so it's like, you really that's why they say fake it to make it, because to get that chemistry, we have to make it ourselves. And if you are having challenges with figuring out what's playful to you, it's helpful at nighttime if you just write down the question, I wonder what could bring more play in my life, or I wonder what's funny to me. And just at nighttime before you go to bed, you just write that on a piece of paper. You could try it for a couple weeks, just writing that down and allowing it to kind of sink into your subconscious slowly, even sometimes bypassing resistance that's there because you're not trying to get anywhere. You're really just asking a deep question and hopefully allowing it to bubble up and listening to what it says. So that's been really helpful for me. I hope that helps somebody. And let's open up for some questions to Bianca before we sign out. And you feel free to just put them in the chat.
So any ideas for weaving play into our lives if we encounter lots of freeze and feel easily overwhelmed? Breathe. Take it slow. Again, if you notice you're in freeze, you could be playful about that. Okay. You can say, I know in Elevate, we call it freezy. So you could be like, hey, freezy, I see you here. I see you. See that you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed right now. Would walking help you? And you can have a little playful conversation with freezy. Again, it's not skipping or jumping or laughing, but it's playfully engaging and progressing out of what you realize is a perhaps unhelpful or unwanted pattern, right? So that can be one way that I would say for the freeze, to just playfully engage with freezy and shift yourself out of that. Yeah, slow movement can help a bit with freeze as well. So I don't know if there's something you could feel that you'd like to move. There was another question before. Janine, you said, what about your play program? Was that for me? If you want to unmute and chat, we can also do that.
Yes, it was about your playtastic, NeuroPLAYstic.
Oh yeah. It's a tricky name for everybody. So yeah, NeuroPLAYstic Way is something that I've developed over the last 6 years that combines all of those ingredients, like I said before, the somatics, nervous system regulation, neuroplasticity, laughter, play, and the science behind those. I guess the course also includes some facilitation must-haves with regards to being able to hold space. And I'm excited that's going to be launching in March next year. So if you'd like more information on that and you'd like to come through that journey and become a NeuroPLAYstic Way facilitator, yeah, you can let me know.
That sounds fun. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm just going to wrap up shop a little bit here, letting you know about, I'm trying to talk and send you messages in the chat at the same time.
I'm also just going to pop a link for Elevate
Appreciate it.
in the chat, which is
recording. Bianca's website is Bianca Spears, SPEARS.com, and you can find her at Instagram on the same name, too. Go ahead. Sorry, interrupted you.
Oh yeah, Elevate is for brain retrainers. We do bring in a lot of play, a lot of personalization and making. Like Ash said, it's not one size fits all, but like we've talked about here today, some of those little shifts can be big shifts in, I know we talked about not saying stop, 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 or how to kind of get that play and joy back into not only your retraining practice, but your life as a whole, because there are no boxes, and how to really make it yours. So we look at going, well, we don't look at, we go into like, who are you? Because in the healing journey, a lot of the time, our purpose day to day is to try and feel good or navigate symptoms. But you have the bigger purpose in your life than that, right? And so it's not necessarily about like when I'm better. It's like, how can you bring purpose into your day to day where you're feeling fulfilled, you're feeling connected to your true self, you're living in alignment with your values, and shifting some of the beliefs, the identities that we've related to that are holding us from being that person that we want to be, and healing in the ways that we want to heal as well. So that's what Elevate's about. the links there. You can find it via the Vital Side website if you are on the replay. Elevate Brain Retraining 2.0, and it's designed to be done over 6 to 12 weeks. So again, personalized, because not everyone moves at the same pace. And you can shift through that in your own time at your own pace. You get access to a community. We do run live events and calls, as I mentioned, where we all get together. And you have access also to message Lindsay, myself, or our team member Laurie. We're all there to support you. And yeah, connect with community, share in the space that we all share together online, which is off social media and on its own thing. And yeah, it's a really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing.
I love it. I love Lindsay and Bianca. All their stuff is amazing. Highly recommend. Thank you, B, for being here today. I hope everyone can send you out an emoji of thanks. I just want to let you guys know we are having another great topic in September, on September 25th at 10 a.m. PST. I know it's a very different time than tonight. Vanessa from Your Grateful Guide will be discussing grief and how to heal while grieving, which is a really, really, really great topic. Even if it may not be in your life now, I didn't think I would encounter it, but I did. So I highly, highly, highly recommend. She's great. She's amazing. We'll hear more from her. Also, if you want to check out if you want to check out some of the things on Rewiring Your Wellness, there's some links for you. The blog, like I talked about, is there. Signing up for the newsletter, the Rewiring Your Wellness community on Facebook, and our Instagram. Thank you everyone for joining us. I really appreciate you being here. To you people and the people watching the recording, it's been quite a journey to have this platform. It really is kind of funded by me primarily. So I hope that everyone can, and if they're able to, can donate. We have from free to $5 to whatever you want to donate dollars for the sessions. You also can donate just to the platform. Pretty much all of that money just goes to pay for Kathleen, who keeps everything running while I have another business that I do. So it really, really is not a very profitable platform, but I'd like to keep it here because I think it's the only one really bridging all of the retraining programs together. So everyone's just not separate. So I really, really appreciate those donations, really appreciate you signing up today. And if you can tell your friends and other retrainers, share it in your groups. I really appreciate that too. If you feel like becoming a part of spreading the word at all, feel free to email me at rewiringyourwellness@gmail.com. And I'm happy to send you the monthly speaker sessions if you want to send that out to friends or to groups you're in. We would really appreciate that. Super, super appreciate it. Thank you again. Hope to see you next week. And Bianca, if you want to say goodbye, you're welcome to as well.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having me here, Ash, and bringing me in, and for everyone on the line and on the replay. To those on the line, thank you so much for playing along and giving each other and me and Ashley ideas as well.
We're so excited. Thank you for coming. I'm going to head out and